Hi, it's Michael here from Custom Biofit, and today I'm with Jason from INFINIT Nutrition. G'day, Jason.
G'day, Miko. How are you?
I'm very well, mate. I've known Jason for about 5-6 years, until when I first moved up to the Sunshine Coast, and Jason's been involved in INFINIT all that time. So you've been the distributor for INFINIT Nutrition for how long?
Yeah, I've been probably 5 or 6 years now. I've been taking that, and we make it all on the Sunshine Coast, organise all the ingredients here, make it all, and then dispatch it from the sunny coast. Yeah.
So it's a bit different to most nutritional products. I mean, you look at things like Gatorade and Endura, etc., etc. Can you tell us about some of the differences and what makes INFINIT unique?
Yeah, I guess the thing that makes INFINIT unique is that we custom make sports drinks. Which is awesome. So athletes can tell me exactly what they want, and then I can make it up. So we're a pretty small company. We're a family business. So we can make everything from like the flavouring to the amount of carbs, the type of carbs that are in it, the amount of sodium in it, the whole sports drink. So instead of having to take bars and gels, we can just spec out a sports drink to replace that. So there's no artificial flavours, colourings or anything like that. All the flavouring's all natural and stuff. So we're in a really cool position that we can do heaps more stuff. So I have athletes ring me up and ask me, they want some help, and I just tell me, what do you want and how do you want it to work? And if they know that, then I can just make it happen. So it's really
That's awesome. And it really, with that custom blend, it really simplifies the process, and it simplifies things on race day, that people don't have to use their brain so much, which particularly in an Ironman is a big thing, because once you get past that 4 or 5 hours, your mental capacity to be able to calculate what you need and when sort of goes out the window, and it's just a matter of sipping on a bottle. But I guess one of the things that I've noticed through my training and racing over the years is that some people just don't have a nutrition or a hydration strategy at all, and some people do, but what they tend to do if they have a strategy is they'll apply that across all of the races. So for example, if they're doing a half Ironman and they've got a strategy of X amount of calories per hour and how they're going to get it in, to do an Ironman they simply double it. And they don't take into consideration the conditions that they're going to race in. So what I'd like to do today is just explore what your ideas are and what you've discovered through, working with different athletes and working yourself, whether it be, I'm going to talk specifically today about triathlon, but obviously you've experienced with adventure racers and trail runners and those sort of things. But if we look at a race, for example, a race in May, a half Ironman, or an Ironman at Port Macquarie, where it's traditionally a bit cooler. In a week's time, we've got probably the hottest race in Australia, and in the Hervey Bay 100, which I know you've supplied the nutrition for the last 5 years. Yeah. One of the hotter races, a lot of people struggle there. And then if we go up another level and we look at Kona. So if we look at a cold climate, an Australian warm climate, and then we step up to a Kona or a race in Asia, what are the changes and the things that you believe people should consider as they walk their way through those different races?
Yeah, it's funny how it's amazing how many people don't have a nutrition plan. The perfect example with me was the year 2014. We raced Ironman New Zealand, and Bevan Doherty blew up, and we were there, and I went at the pub afterwards. I said, "Hey mate, how you going?" And he goes, "How's your race?" And he said, "I had stomach issues and stuff." And I went, "Oh yeah, righto." I said, "How many grams of carbs were you taking?" No idea. No idea.
And this is a world champion now.
Yeah, just a freak of an athlete, absolutely. He's won it before, but he had no idea. It's just funny how people can do these races and just have no plan and just make it up as they go. But I guess your question was, once we do have a plan, how you can do that in cold weather, medium weather, and then hot weather. Yeah. So for my particular product, and the most simplest way for me is to have 1 serve of INFINIT in 1 bottle. You just drink 1 bottle, 1 serve per hour, and that's your whole nutrition plan. So you come unstuck with that plan when you go to a cold race. So in a cold race, you may you're not sweating. You might only be sweating like 300, 500 grams per hour. So there's no point having a nutrition plan based around taking 600 mils, because you're just not going to drink the serve of Infinite in one bottle. So in that case, we can do, you'll basically run a concentrate. So in a concentrate, basically most of the time it's like you'll put 2 serves up to 5 serves into one bottle. So I'm not very big on the 5 serves into one bottle, because if you take a couple of mils too much, you can effectively be taking way too many grams.
So one serve is 1 hour? 1 hour's worth of nutrition?
Yeah, 1 hour's worth of nutrition. Yeah, that's how I would do it. The simplest way for me to get people. Yeah. They can't muck it up. We have the concentration right, so their tummy's going to be fine. Yeah. They just take that serve per hour, grab the next bottle for the next hour, and that's what they do. So for port, you probably run maybe 2 concentrated bottles, or whether you just run a concentrate, and then sip water as well with that. So.
And my serve for me, obviously, I'm 80 kilos, around the 80 kilo mark, versus a serve for someone who's 60 kilos, that's going to be very different, which is why it's beneficial to be able to have that custom blend.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Like, there's no point if we've got a 60 kilo, or some of the ladies are like 50 kilos. If they do try to take like 70 grams of carbs, they can just feel very bloated and stuff. It's probably a performance enhancer for them to be getting the 70 grams in. Even though they're only 50 kilo ladies, if they can get more in for the longer races, is probably actually going to help them. But quite often they're not used to taking that amount of carbs. So, and that's totally what we can adjust. So I think my, as far as an Infinite, my favourite, we sponsor probably, I reckon we got 60 to 70 athletes that we're starting to sponsor. And I think from a product point of view, Karina Lee, the swimmer, she's probably one of my favourite athletes, or she has used my product more than any other product or me. She has all different types of mixes. She's got a 90 gram mix, a 60 gram mix, a 30 gram mix, a 25 gram mix. She's got mixes at the moment. She sent me a message last week for a mix with 25 grams of carbs, aminos and caffeine in it, and then she asked for a different flavour with no caffeine and no amino. So she's probably my perfect example of through the year. She's an open 10k open water swimmer. She's probably my perfect example of how she uses the product in different ways.
So she's using it for different race conditions, different race durations, that sort of thing?
I think she's using it more around the time of the year that she's at.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think when she's in a base period, I think she's taking really low carbs. And then as she's getting closer to race time, she's taking more carbs.
Yeah, okay. So that's thinking on a completely different level.
Yeah.
I mean, triathletes, and I've been in the sport for over 20 years, I don't know anybody who's thinking on that level.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting to see, and I think there's something that we can take from that. But so we've got a strategy around sort of normal racing conditions or a cooler race conditions. Let's move into something like the Hervey Bay 100, where let's say, for example, it's that 70 to 75 kilo athlete. They're taking 1 bottle an hour, just a standard bottle an hour during that cooler race. What would you then suggest they do if they're going to be racing Hervey Bay? It's probably going to be 30 to 35 degrees.
Yeah.
How would you step things up, or how would you tune things?
As I was saying, like straight away at the start, the most simplest way is to have the single serve in a bottle at a time. I guess that works with the people. It's just depending on their sweat rates, really, with where they're at. If I just got off the phone now to a guy that's got a sweat rate of 2 litres an hour. So if he takes the 600 ml bottle, he's going to have to supplement it with some extra fluid. So for me, in triathlon, that's perfect in that you have the aero bottle on the front, so any extra fluid you can take in off that. So if you were to say you're going to do 2 hours 40 for the tri up in Hervey Bay
for the ride,
you may have 3 bottles with your Infinite in it. You may drink the first serve and then grab water from the course, and then have your extra fluid in that water that you're grabbing from the course. So that's, I think, in hot races or warmer races, you definitely, and as I was saying to you earlier, like probably the people that come unstuck in races, 9 out of 10 people have no idea how much their sweat rates are and how much they're sweating.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I come unstuck with it.
Yeah, you're a big sweater. You're very similar in that regard.
I'll sweat like 2.5 litres per hour, and then I'm really, really salty. And so for me, it's at this time of year, November and stuff, I'll just go to full sweat rate. So I'll be sitting, if I'm working decent, like reasonably hard, I'll be sitting at 2 to 2.5 litres of sweat per hour.
Yeah.
But in saying that, as soon as we get back to the cooler months, my sweat rate comes back down to like 500 mils per hour. I'm like, sweet, I'm on an even playing field with all my mates now.
Yeah.
And that's why I target races in New Zealand and stuff that are cooler, because I can just go so much better there.
So you've qualified twice for Kona now, and both times you've cherry-picked your race almost. You've gone to New Zealand because you know it plays to your strengths because you are a big sweater.
Oh yeah, it's cooler. It's a hard bike. It just suits me.
Yeah.
Like why am I going to make it hard for myself?
Yeah.
I know it suits me.
Yeah.
As we were saying earlier, I don't get wound up in where everyone else is going. I don't really care where they're going or how fast they're going or how good their training's been. I don't care. I've got my own goals that I want to achieve, and I've set my own times, and that's what I go after.
Okay.
It's worked out.
All right. Just a couple more questions. You talked about those heavy sweaters and having to supplement the serve of INFINIT, their serve of nutrition with additional water. Do you recommend also putting in additional electrolytes with that? You know, supplementing with another product that you do, such as the Noon tablets?
Yeah, I'm massive on sodium. I've been really lucky with my business that I get to speak to really smart people, and I've been speaking to heaps of really smart people lately, and I've got a different thinking to what they have. A lot of the experts in our field are saying not to take sodium. They're sort of thinking that the 400 to 600 milligram range is enough, and I can honestly say that I don't make any money out of it. Yeah. But I can honestly say that I did maybe 8 Ironmans taking no sodium, and all went 11 hours and up. And then I started taking sodium and I went straight under 10.
Yeah, awesome.
So, but the difficult thing with that is unless you get a sweat rate analysis done, and even then it might be a bit hit and miss, that you don't, everyone's different, so you don't really know. No one can give you, I can't, unless you get that sweat rate analysis done, we can't really give you advice on what to take. But I certainly need to take it, and I've mucked around with it this year. My wife ran the Gold Coast Marathon. I did my long runs with her. I did her long runs, and it was through winter. I just didn't worry about taking any sodium with me, and a couple of times I actually got dropped, and she took off, and I got home. So I weighed myself before I went out, 75 kilos. I got home, I was 73 kilos with no sodium, and I was in a really, really bad way, like holding 6-minute Ks, really struggling to come home. And then 2 weeks later, same run, just taking sodium. Come home, 73 kilos, the same 75 down to 73. Absolutely no problems at all. Yeah. And the only thing, I took the same amount of carbs, did everything else the same. It was just the sodium for me. Okay. So I don't know. It's really hard to give advice on that because everyone has to have their own own go at it.
So I guess for me, from what I'm hearing, the 2 major takeaways are: number 1, get a sweat rate test done.
If you can, they're really hard to get at the moment. The AIS, I think, has stopped doing them. But I don't think I would get a sweat rate test done, as in how much sodium's in my sweat. If you don't have problems, I'd stick that $250 in my pocket and I'd go and spend it somewhere else. Right. But if you're coming unstuck and you're bombing out in races and you're looking to find out why you're bombing out, I'd certainly think making sure, having a look at how much you're sweating, trying to replace.
Simply by weighing yourself in and out?
Yeah, and the easiest way is to just do an hour run. You know, you just weigh yourself 75 kilos, do an hour run. You generally don't drink anything, come home, whatever your weight is, That's the easiest way of doing it. Is just go 73 kilos and I've lost 2 kilos. That's the most uncomplicated way. And then, I'd be looking at, and then if you are coming unstuck and you are replacing that fluid, maybe looking at introducing some sodium and then seeing what difference it makes.
Yeah.
And then, obviously conditioning, you know how much training you've done.
Yeah. So a bit of experimentation. Obviously people can come to you, get smaller mixes made up so they can trial X amount of sodium, X amount of grams of carbohydrate, this sort of thing, trying them in different conditions and so that they can drill down on exactly what's going to work for them in a particular environment.
Yeah. I just can't stress enough, for people to practice what they're going to do on race day in training.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the first thing I ask if they come in and they had a bad race. What did you do different on race day to training? I mean, if they can just do it, they only got to do it a few times to practice their race day nutrition plan.
Yeah.
And then once they've got it dialed in, I've been doing this for ages, but before Kona, I still practice twice to make sure that I know what I'm taking, I know how it's going to feel. And this year I tried to get a few extra grams of carbs in training, and I jumped off the bike and did a run off, and within 5 to 10 minutes, boom, I knew I'd taken too many carbs in on the bike.
Yeah, right, okay.
And then all of a sudden I was like, hey, that wasn't worth it. Hey, I'm not starting a marathon off like that.
Yeah.
I'm going straight back to my old nutrition plan with my old carbs and going there. So
cool. So if people want to get in contact with you, Jace, what's the best way to find you?
Yeah, our website's Infinite Nutrition. No, we're on the Infinite, infinitenutrition.com.au.
Okay.
They can get us through the website. There's nutrition consults in there. They can send me an email asking me questions and stuff. They can try to ring me, but as my business gets busier, I'm just flat out on the phone a lot of the time.
Okay.
So
I'll make sure I include your contact details at the end of or in a post underneath this video. But look, thank you for your time.
Yeah,
it's been awesome.
You.
I've learned a lot, and I'm hoping that people will learn a lot from this also. And thank you again.
Thanks, mate.
Good on you. Cheers, Jace.
Sweet.